A police officer suggested that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez deserves to be shot and called her a vile idiot. And the term of the day for this story is stochastic terrorism. That's really the story here, and I'm going to get to that. The officer's name is Charlie Rispoli. According to a Louisiana publication, he has been on the Gretna, Louisiana police force since 2005. And he posted to his Facebook page, quote, "This vile idiot needs a round, and I don't mean the kind she used to serve." Of course, referring not to a round of drinks. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez used to be a bartender, but rather to a round as in ammunition. He's talking about bullets. She needs a bullet, is what a police officer is saying. The police chief says it's a disturbing post, and if accurate, it does violate the police department's social media policy. But, and here's the thing I want to focus on, the police chief says it's not an actual threat against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from the police officer, presuming, I guess, that the police officer means, I don't believe the police officer is likely to find and shoot Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And that's what I want to talk about. We can talk about all the obvious stuff. The cop should not be on the police force. How do you trust this guy to keep your neighborhood safe if he has the poor judgment to suggest on the internet under his name, under his real name, that not that it's any better to do it anonymously, but I mean, it shows sort of like a lack of judgment as well to think it's going to have no consequences. To suggest publicly that a member of Congress be shot, we would all mostly agree that even if you don't like AOC's politics, this guy shouldn't be suggesting she be shot. She shouldn't be shot. And a police officer in particular saying that is wrong and should be removed from the police force. Let's focus, though, on this isn't a real threat. OK, this is really important. This type of defense might make sense until you are enlightened about stochastic terrorism. I've talked about this many times before. I think this even came up on my Joe Rogan appearance. Stochastic terrorism is when someone goes and commits a crime. They commit an act of terror, a shooting, a killing, whatever. They appear to have acted completely alone. They are apparent lone wolves. But in fact, they were influenced by a broader movement or an ideology that they weren't personally in contact with, at least not in terms of like a two-way communication. So if I have a TV show with a big audience and I rant and rave every day about someone's got to do something about AOC, and some guy that watches but doesn't know me personally starts to think it's a good idea to do something about AOC, and then that guy goes and does something, that is a stochastic terrorist. I'm not legally guilty as the host, at least not under current law, but my statement to an audience, when the audience is big enough, becomes statistically more and more likely to influence someone to actually go out and do something like this. And right now, it is the president who is doing this. So understand the cycle here. Trump rants and raves about the un-American, bad congresswomen who hate the U.S. They should go back to their, quote, original countries. People at a crowd react by literally chanting, "Send her back," about one of those congresswomen, Ilhan Omar, in that case. And the defense that we heard from the right is they weren't literally saying deport her. It was more symbolic. It was, we disagree with her agenda. Well, it might be all fun and games, except now here's a cop influenced by this entire anti-AOC apparatus, and he goes and posts on Facebook, AOC should be shot. The defense from his own police chief, well, the comment wasn't okay, violates our policy, but this is not an actual threat that the police officer is going to find and shoot Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez personally. But then someone could go and see all of this stuff and then really go and do it in real life, because that's exactly how stochastic terrorism works, by fomenting this environment where these ideas are repeated in more and more places. Not only do we hear it from the president, we're seeing it even from our local police. I mean, look at all these people that think something should be done. Maybe I should be the person to go and do it. The perpetuators of the rhetoric can hide behind a microphone or behind a social media page or behind the supposedly symbolic nature of these statements and say it's hypothetical. This is not advice to anybody. But statistically, you have to understand stochastic terrorism. You are increasing the chances that someone goes and really does shoot someone. Am I saying it should be illegal to have a show in which you say something needs to be done about AOC because somebody who is arguably potentially unstable goes and does something? No, I'm not saying that. This is not me repressing speech or suggesting speech be repressed or suppressed in any legal way. What I'm saying is these ideas that we can just dance around with coy language and then say it's all symbolic, it's hypothetical, it's just another way of saying we disagree with her policies and hiding behind that. It's absolutely ridiculous. I saw Dilbert creator Scott Adams, who I've interviewed, a great defender of Trump, doing this on Twitter. He said, no one is literally suggesting sending Ilhan Omar back to Somalia. This is symbolism in politics, that all. The rhetoric being normalized actually puts people in danger, and it should stop. It needs to stop right away, and we need to call it out clearly for what it is. We'll see what ultimately happens to this police officer. I don't know what his future holds, at least not based on the sort of mealy-mouthed comment from his police chief.